think that the government, instead of doing that, chose the approach that they did?
Well, I think they want to take credit for transferring back 75 cents on the dollar, thinking that people aren't going to notice that they took the dollar in the first place. And I guess I would look at it and I sort of question the approach. I kind of wonder what the Liberal members think is going to happen with those dollars. So they come back with $400. Do they think someone's going to go out and buy a $60,000 electric vehicle? Do they think they're going to put $10,000 of solar panels on their roof? Do they think that they're going to convert to geothermal, which costs $20,000? Like, if we want to make a real impact on the kind of vehicles people drive and the kind of heating that they use, those are substantially more investments that are going to be made than a token measure to rebate back a tax. I think I would rather see other programs that would stimulate those kinds of choices.
And you mentioned the emissions plan that you have tabled. Mm-hmm. Now, I assume that this is a commitment to reduce absolute emissions in Alberta over time towards this goal of 2050. In that plan, have you done an analysis of the cost per ton? Like, as I understand it, you're relying heavily on technologies that are not only expensive, but aren't proven at scale. Has there been an analysis on the cost per ton relative to other approaches, like the pricing approach that the federal government has taken?
Well, I can tell you that we will have 3 net zero major industrial operations within the next 2 years. Air Products Hydrogen, the Dow Chemical, Petrochemical, Heidelberg Cement, and let me add Interpipeline as well, because they're going to be an ammonia project. And we do have at scalability because our former Premier Ed Stelmach invested over $1 billion in building out Shell's Quest project so that we could firm out the technology. It has now stored 11.5 billion metric tons of CO2, I believe, over in Saskatchewan.
The question was very specifically on the cost per ton of those reductions. Is there an analysis that shows that using those approaches to reduce emissions on a cost per ton basis is less expensive for Canadians than the approach that the federal government has taken?
Well, I can tell you, when I hear the federal environment minister say his approach won't work till 2060, and I've just given you 4 examples that will work within 2 years, it does seem to be that the outcome is what we should be looking at. And if we can get to a net zero outcome, that should be the goal.
Thanks. That is our time. We'll have 2 last 4-minute rounds. Mr. Lawrence, go ahead, please.
And thank you, Premier Smith, for being here today. Appreciate your time. My question will focus on the carbon tax and productivity. Of course, Canada is, as the Governor of the Bank of Canada said, in a productivity crisis. One shining example, or exception, I might say, is Alberta. The average GDP, for example, per worker is about $50 per hour, I should say, about $50. In the energy sector in Alberta, it's $500. My concern is that the carbon tax and other actions by the federal government are putting sand in the gears of our economy and slowing down our productivity when we can least afford it. Would you share my concern?
I do share the concern, and I can tell you that we have had to take a whole variety of measures in order to be able to assist our individuals so that households are able to manage through the inflation crisis that we're facing and have more dollars in their pocket in order so that they can go out and buy the things that they need to, so that we can keep the economy rolling. We had our fuel tax relief program, which I mentioned, saved $2.3 billion because we took it off for 2 entire years. We re-indexed Asian income supports. We gave $20 million to food banks. We've reduced the increase year over year in auto insurance. We've re-indexed our personal income tax. We've supported post-secondary students with a cap on tuition increases. We've supported wage growth in the social sector. We've given rental supplementary supports. We've created an affordable housing plan that'll spend $8 billion over the next 3 years. We've reduced electricity costs through rebates at a cost of $500 per household, or $1 billion over the course of that. And we've given affordability payments of $100 per month for 6 months to our lowest income individuals at a cost of $625 million. All of these are to make sure that people have enough money in their pocket to be able to keep our economy going, because that lends itself to businesses being able to have the dollars they need so that they can make the investments they need to make so that they can improve productivity. It would be helpful if the federal government would stop making it so hard for people and did something equivalent to put the same amount of dollars in the pocket of consumers so that we could keep our economy going strong.
Thank you very much, Premier Smith. And to prove that Ontarians can indeed share with Albertans, I'm going to split the rest of my time with Mr.